All right, welcome to the February photographers meeting, Wisconsin photographers meeting. We got to come up with a better name. I don't know what the there's no acronym or WPPA, kind of rolls off your tongue, but Wisconsin photographer, photojournalism, whatever. We got to come up with something. But so we've got Mike De Sisti, right? Did I get that right? He's joining us today from Milwaukee, and he's with the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. And I apologize for misspelling your name on the email. I think I just ran all the words together. I didn't capitalize and space and everything. So
that's all right.
Hopefully everybody knew who you were. But I ran across some of Mike's work, and he does some amazing stuff, and thought he'd be a good person. And he agreed to. Fortunately, he had a shoot lined up and canceled on him, so he was able to join us at the very last second. I tried to get. Is it Mike? No, John, is it Biever?
John Biever.
Yeah. I tried to get him, and he was all for doing it, and except he was on vacation. So I reminded him that he lives in San Diego, and he doesn't really have a right to go on vacation if you live in San Diego, right? People from Wisconsin have the right to, should be on vacation during this time of year. But he was very interested in doing it, and he just thought, let's wait till the next Super Bowl. He thought there'd be more interest, and so I said, that's fine if you would like to do that.
I just want to say, I used to have lunch with John just about every day.
Is that right?
And I haven't seen him for 20 years roughly. It's just like he moved away, and I haven't kept contact. I'd love to see him again. Very nice man.
He is. If you go to the San Diego Daily paper there, the big one, there is, well, in fact, I have a link. Let's see. I'll see if I can find it later. But there's a photo, a video that basically an interview with him speaking that was done by a photojournalist, and has a lot of his photos over the years, and with his dad and the Green Bay Packers, and going, and it's speaking about shooting it all. So if you want to check that out,
Steve, I would suggest that we try to get him whenever. I don't think we need to wait till the next Super Bowl. I mean,
I agree.
I agree too. And I had actually suggested doing that next month, and that's where he came back with that. And I'll revisit it with him and see if we can just get it. It doesn't matter that much. I mean, we're going to get people watching. It's not like we're trying to get ratings or anything like that.
Right. And I will also, I keep forgetting to do this. I'll reach out to Bill Ingalls here at some point, because he would be really good. This is the guy that's the staff photographer at NASA.
Yep, absolutely. He would be. He's on my list as well. So that would be great to have him. He's got a bunch of amazing photos. So I have a couple things to start out with. Just news items, I guess, real quick. We'll just go through, and before we get to Mike's presentation, let me share my screen here real quick. And all right, can you see Newsweek?
Yep.
Okay, this is just a new little segment that I thought we'd try and do. Just a couple of things real quick. Joe sent this article to me. This is about from Arizona. And let's see, actually I have a short video on it as well. So I think it's like a minute long. Can you hear the audio on that?
No,
I don't think I shared the audio, unfortunately. Let me stop the share here real quick. Well, you know what? Let's just recap it. It's so short, and it's just generic B-roll anyway. It's just about this guy was this John Kavanaugh is a former Port Authority police officer, bigwig in New York, and his deal was to make it if you're within the Supreme Court said 8 feet, and they passed a bill making it a petty offense if you're within. His argument was that the police officer may turn around. Actually, if I go back to this one here, I'll get the exact quote here. He said, if there's cameras nearby, the police may be forced to look over their shoulder, giving the suspect the opportunity to assault the officer or destroy evidence. So that's his big reason for this, but we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, that's unconstitutional. It won't play out very long.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. NAACP is already getting involved in it and everything. In other news, this, I don't know where this ended up going. This was from earlier this month. They're proposing, this is kind of more across the country, trying to get away from not only public safety, but a lot of anybody dealing with public safety using a DJI drone, which is owned by a Chinese company, which is supported by the Chinese government, of course. And so the thought is being that they would be able to get information or possibly video or something, I guess, that would somehow get back to China and be a security risk. So I don't know. It said if passed, they would agencies would have 1 year to get rid of their drones. So I don't know what the current status of this is, but we'll see about that. There's a lot of, I know a lot of places, including Dane County here in Madison area, is part of that, or they do have DJI drones as well. This one might be a little hard to look at, especially for people like apps who drank the Sony Kool-Aid, right? This is from the Olympics. Somebody accidentally let go of their Sony camera and it went downhill.
It was probably a loner.
Look at it. It didn't
Just
break
kind of
anything.
keep those. Wait, a piece falls off right about
And Steve's
here.
about to run out and grab it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still perfectly usable.
Oh, there goes.
Ah, I
our-
lost
There
something
goes
there.
Steve. Thanks.
And
I think it,
I did freeze frame it. This is a Sony guy here, so somebody ran out with a Sony and saved
I think
it.
it missed some of the gates on the way down, so
Yeah.
it would be another.
I don't think it's eligible for any medals.
Yeah, his buddy just rated ahead. I need a camera, and he sent it down the hill to him.
I think that photographer played goalie in high school.
Yeah, you got that knee down, right?
Yeah, it's good.
So the backstory behind this is it was taken to the Sony people, and they had it back and running in 2 hours, and there was no major damage. There was a couple of plastic pieces broke off, but they were able to get it all back, and the photographer had it the next day. Of course, he got a loaner from them, and they got a lot of good press out of it. So at least the lens didn't come off, and the batteries and everything else. So he still got his finger on the button, so he's ready to take a shot. So that was good. And speaking of camera equipment, people ask a lot of times if they can help support this Zoom call, and and no, this is a free deal. But I did run across this recently that if anybody would be interested in supporting me by purchasing
$20,000 for the 1200.
The 1200.
Yeah, but I'm only interested in the 800. So
Yeah.
they're only
17,000.
16 grand. I did ask Pete if he wanted to go halvesies with me, and he pretty much laughed me off.
My wife
So-
threatened to kill me for just looking at it.
This is an everyday lens, you guys. What are you talking
I
about?
know
Yeah.
this is a street lens. This is something you would do if you want anybody to see you, I guess.
No, it's for
no.
feature hunting.
So anyway,
For feature hunting, right, Steve?
if anybody wants to do that, I'm not going to complain about it. But with that, does anybody else? I did ask people to bring along something to share. If anybody has anything they'd like to share, otherwise we'll just move along to Mike's. Pete has something. Go ahead, Pete.
You're
Oh,
muted.
you're muted.
Pete, you're muted.
Can I share my screen real quick?
Oh yeah,
This will take 5 seconds.
no worries.
Just ran across this amazing photo that was just on the New York Times. Let's see, by Tyler Hicks. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's
Oh,
see.
wow. Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, he's right in the thick of things, obviously. But this is actually a Russian soldier, not a Ukrainian soldier. Anyway,
I think I saw the same scene before the snow from earlier. I've been following a lot of things on there, and they had several pictures of it, but with the snow, it
yeah,
kind of gives it that anonymity. That is amazing.
Yep, just one thing to bring up. I don't know if you guys, Steve and Peter, probably the only two here, I'm not sure. Tomorrow night at 7:00, there's a world premiere of a film, Madison's, let's see, Leaders of Madison's Black Renaissance. And it's a documentary, and I have one extra ticket. I have a friend that was going to go, but there's something came up and he can't go. My wife and I are going, but so I have a ticket. They're free tickets, but mine, I managed to get one on the aisle in the orchestra section. This is going to be in the Capitol Theater inside of Overture, and then seating starts at 6:30, and I'm going to pick up the tickets earlier that night. But it's produced by a professor from Edgewood College, Dr. Taylor, an African-American man. And I think it's going to be a really interesting piece. So, because there's a lot happening right now.
Yeah.
Here, anyway. So anyway, throw that out there.
Along that same line, I was talking earlier about the Ukraine issue going on and the war, I should say. And I was talking to a neighbor who's from Ukraine, and he did say that there's going to be some kind of a march around the Capitol this weekend. I think it's Sunday, but I don't know for sure. But if
Saturday at noon.
Saturday at noon, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
The Capitol here in Madison?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to try to stop on and see if there's any photos down there.
Yeah, I was gonna head down there too whenever it was. So that's good to know.
Did anybody else see Marcus Yam, the LA Times photographer stuff that was on last night? I think it was on Rachel Maddow or MSNBC's coverage.
No.
He was stuff in the subway. There's some stills and some video as well. But the way he talked about it and what he was experiencing there as well was really interesting. I had not heard it before.
So Marcus was a grad student when I was teaching at OU at Ohio University.
Cool.
And if you guys want to follow him on Instagram, it's Yam, I think it's Yam Photo, YAM Photo. He had, I think, the best work from the pullout of Afghanistan, and and now he's back in the thick of things again. So he's excellent photographer.
Yeah, this is in Kharkiv, in the subway there. So
I'll see if I can pull some stuff up and get a link for him and send that out afterwards. So.
Hey, Pete, I'm curious, are there more photos like you just showed?
Yes, there's tons.
Yeah, I mean,
your source?
No, I mean, this is on the New York Times. The one I showed of Tyler Hicks's. Somebody had posted it on Twitter, and they had a link. So I went to it's posted on their online, newspaper. I just saw this, so I hadn't had a chance to go through the whole gallery. But
Yeah,
they have 3 photographers in Ukraine: Tyler Hicks, Lindsay Addario, and some woman, I think Emily Dudek or something that I don't know, is in Kiev. I think they have those 3. So I've been trying to follow them. And there's another guy that I just started following who, let's see if I could see his name, Alex. He actually messaged me on Instagram because I was sharing his work. Sorry. Let's see, Alex Lurie. So it's ALEX LOURI, and his screen name is alexlurie.photo on Instagram. But he has some good work too.
LOREI, did you say? Oh, you're muted.
LAURI.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm drinking water, so I don't want you guys to have to hear me sip. It's LOURIE, Alex dot LOURIE dot photo, I guess. No, it's all one word, alexlaurie.photo. That's his Instagram handle.
Got it. I will send that out. If you could maybe after we're done, Pete, if maybe just send me those 3 that you had, and then I'll send those out and for people to have for links. But yeah, he's definitely got some stuff posted on here. I'm looking at it right now. So anybody else have anything to share real quick?
Yeah. For those of you whose career was determined and probably destroyed by the Daily Cardinal, there's a 130th anniversary dinner at the start of April. I think probably anybody concerned probably has already gotten the email invitation on it, but I just wanted to backstop.
Very good. Anybody else? No. Mike, you're up.
All right.
Mike's gonna talk about his career and where he got started and how he ended up in. Are you from Milwaukee?
I'm not. I'm actually from the suburbs of Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. You probably heard of Pete Souza then, because I think he worked down in that area a little bit. Anybody else work down in Chicago?
Matt Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still working.
Yeah.
Still?
Call it that.
Very
Yeah.
good. I'm going to share the screen with you and make you the host, and it's all yours. I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I was talking to my colleague, Mark Hoffman, and he was talking about the photo meeting. And, I had joined this, a couple of years ago, and it's like, oh yeah, send me the emails. I'd like to join that again. And, I sent Steve, I sent you a message and you hooked me up and you said, yeah, and can you speak? And I was like, no, I don't want to speak. I just want to join and listen in, and you talked me into it, and I'm no John Biever. So I'm sorry to disappoint everyone that is not hearing him today, but yeah, I don't know. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago and started, I went to school at Southern Illinois University for more fine art photography, and then started working at the school newspaper there. And that's how I kind of got into photojournalism, and then started freelancing and started my career as a photojournalist up in Appleton, Wisconsin at the Post-Crescent, where Dan Powers works, and Bill Sheen. And worked there for 10 years until 2008. And then I came down to the Journal Sentinel. And while I was in Appleton, I kind of got into video photojournalism. So I kind of transitioned from doing stills to mainly I kind of got into, telling stories with, video. And that's kind of what brought me to Milwaukee to do mainly multimedia. And when I made that move to Milwaukee, that was when, there was 15 photographers at the Journal Sentinel then in 2008. And since then, we've, obviously downsized quite a bit. And now there's 4 photographers. So I'm doing a mix of stills and video now. And that's kind of where I'm at. So I can go ahead and just show you. So I was gonna, Steve asked me to share some work, and I kind of went back and forth and what to show. And I was gonna kind of go through, some protest stuff from a few years ago. And, I just decided, I was looking at what I did last year, and I just thought I'd stick to, just recent stuff. So I'm just gonna show you just 2021. And then he mentioned NFT. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but that's just something that I'm kind of exploring and getting into a little bit. It's if anyone's familiar with it, it's non-fungible tokens. It's it's you can sell photographs as NFTs, and that's what I'm experimenting with, and I'll talk about that at the end, and I'll show you some examples of that and a little bit about it, and you'll probably have questions about it that I won't be able to answer. but I'll just kind of go through that and explain how that's kind of my next little, I guess, experiment or venture that I'm kind of experimenting with or playing around with. I haven't sold any yet, but it's been a trip. It's been pretty cool, actually, and just some of the people that I met. So I will share my screen and just kind of go through some photos and some videos. I do a lot of drone work too, so I'll show some of that too. Let me do this, share my screen. So, and everything's pretty much in chronological order. When I started going through the year, you know, I saw some, I had some pretty good drone stuff. You know, the Bucks won the championship, so I have some pictures from that. You know, the Waukesha parade happened, the parade tragedy happened. So this is just Holy Hill, you know, after an ice storm. This is the beginning of the year last year. So, you know, and a lot of times, like you know, I shoot stuff, I shoot stills, and then, you know, we'll do like a drone video too. Let me see if I can play the video here without it stuttering. Let me know, Steve, if it's doing the stuttering thing.
Mike, do you have to get a lot of clearance when you're doing this kind of stuff?
Depends on the area I'm at. There's you can get instant, it's called LANC, which you can get instant clearance if you're near an airport. A lot of places, if you're not in a nearby airport airspace, you don't have to get clearance.
Thanks.
Yeah. And there's an app you can get instant clearance too. So,
Okay.
you know, there's Packer games, you know, there was and a lot of people that shoot Packers know too. This is the beginning of the season, or the playoffs last year when we had to shoot from the stands, you know, which sucked, but there was a lot of different angles you could get too, that we didn't get from when you had to shoot, you know, or when we were shooting from the field. This is before one of the playoff games. This guy, you know, one of the ushers, I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, I guess this is just an example. I was actually on a run when I shot this. You know, the best camera is obviously the one you have with you. This is from my cell phone. This girl they were on a photo shoot. There was another photographer there taking her picture. So this is I shot this with my cell phone. Just a story about, you know, returning to church, church services. Just a snow feature. Just one of these full blood moon kind of things. I don't know. I just like this picture because I thought the Clipper player, he was almost just as amused as the Bucks were. So this is after, and I'll explain this. This is after Chauvin was Derek Chauvin, after he was charged with murder, 3 counts of murder. So this is a protest after that, and a lot of times I'm shooting stills and I'm shooting video at the same time. So, and this is an example I'll show the video right after this, and you can see, you know, when it sometimes comes in handy, when it doesn't always work out this way, but I'll show you. You can see the video here. So you can see that still came from a frame of the video. and we don't have to watch the whole thing. But a lot of times, it doesn't always work out that way. It's not always that, you can't always shoot stills and video and you have to shoot one or the other a lot of times, but sometimes it works out where you can get a nice still frame from a video. We have a new, the Journal Sentinel just moved offices. We moved from a building, we moved about 6 blocks east. And we have we're on the 5th floor. And I set up a camera on the 5th floor. We have a camera, I don't normally bring my cameras up into the office. They're usually down. We have a parking garage. It's pretty nice. It's a nice setup. It's a brand new building. Well, not a new building. It's a new office. But this is an example of a feature photo that I took from the new office building window. It was snowing outside and I just went out and looked out the window and saw this guy crossing the street. So I'm like, okay, I can't take another feature photo. I've taken like 3 feature photos from the new office building window. And I'm like, okay, I gotta, just another example of, using the drone, to do a different angle for, to get a different perspective. Okay. So, every year the cherry blossoms up in Door County bloom. And, we were asked to go up there and, get some drone footage of them. It kind of petered out before we got there. Sometimes it's a little bit brighter, but, again, using the drone for a different perspective of it. I kind of talked my way into making this more of a travel piece, instead of just going up there. So I kind of, said, hey, maybe we can turn this into more of just, instead of just doing the cherry blossoms, let's do more with it. And I'll explain that in a second. But so we did the cherry blossom trees. And then, obviously we did a drone video of it too. So yeah, and while I was up there, I'm like, okay, for all the way up there, I'm gonna do a little bit more. So I went up and stopped by the lighthouse, and then did another little video on this is the Cana Island lighthouse.
Mike, what drone are you guys using?
We use the DJI Inspire 2. It's about six years old by now. We're about ready for it. It's huge too. I personally have just a little Mavic Air that I like using a little bit better, actually, for my personal stuff.
Are you controlling these with your iPhone, Mike?
Yeah, well, with the DJI Inspire 2, we're hooking up iPad minis. So for our work drone stuff, we have to have 2 of us to operate it. We have to have, and that's a Gannett thing where we have to have 2 people to operate the drone. We have to have 1 person to operate to actually fly it, and another person to control the camera. And we do that so 1 person can always keep a visual line of sight of the drone, and the other person that is operating the camera. So the person that's keeping the visual line of sight of the drone is flying it, and then the other person is controlling the camera. And that's not, you don't have to, by law, you don't have to do that. By law, you do have to have visual line of sight at all times, but it's a Gannett thing to have two people, which kind of hinders us a little bit. You know, I mean, I guess it is smart because sometimes if you fly the drone, you know, you can get that thing so far away, you look down for a second, look up, and you can lose it. I mean, it gets so small, you know, you have like floaties in your eye that are bigger than the drone. When you look down for a second, you look up, you can lose it.
Mike, is it hard to see the screen on a bright day like that? I mean,
we have like little shields that you know, sun shields that shield it. So no, if you have the shields, it's not. Yeah. So yeah, and I turned that Door County trip into like a travel piece. So I like, you know, took a bunch of pictures and I use it pretty much as an excuse to bring my family up for the weekend, and, you know, wrote a whole, we went to, you know, fish boils, and, you know, went canoeing or kayaking, and then wrote a whole travel piece on it too. So they got their money's worth on that one. So this is just some blue herons, not too far from my house. This is a tip I got from, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Nextdoor. It's like this like site that neighbors complain about loud noises and activity.
Did anybody hear a gunshot recently?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you get all this weird stuff, but every now and then you get a good story idea. Somebody on there was like, hey, there's a blue heron nest and you know, nearby. So sure enough, I went and there it was. This is just a, you know, a moment during a national anthem. During the national anthem, that was kind of cool. I'm gonna try to make this a little bit bigger.
Is that a Bucks game?
Yeah, it's during a Bucks game. Okay, so then the Bucks playoff run was pretty exciting. You know, we have it's called the Deer District, where inside the inside Fiserv Forum, while the game's going on, you have all the crazy fans outside. You know, and it was really exciting. I mean, it was a cool time for the city. We don't have to watch this whole video, but here. You know, so, you know, I went out, you know, I'd shoot a bunch of pictures of fans, you know, doing, you know, being crazy, and then, you know, at the same time shoot video of them. And
Are you using the same camera to shoot your stills as your video?
yes, yep, yeah. I mean, that's one of the cool things I think about video too. I mean, you can see a few pictures and get an idea how cool it is, but, you know, to see the people reacting and hear them, I think that's really, I mean, that's kind of one of the cool, I think anyway, just to really elevate and tell the story better. I think you can get it in video in some aspects. You know, obviously you know, stills can do the job, but other times I think video helps it. And this is just a few pictures from the finals too. This is I mean, if you wouldn't know it, I mean, looking back, this is a pivotal moment from one of the game, I think game 6. It was a big key turnover. You know, and then the championship was pretty cool. You know, experiencing that was pretty awesome. And then they had the parade. This is just a panel from my iPhone. And I just like, you know, little weird kind of moments, somebody painting their dog green. This was interesting too, because this is one of the Bucks players, you know, all the players pretty much drove their car, you know, or got like chauffeured back from, it was about a 2-block walk back from the parade to Fiserv Forum. But this guy, PJ Tucker, decided to walk back, and he just created this huge crowd. And then, so I took a picture of him walking back, and then, tweeted it, and it went bazonkers. And then, also, I wanted to do a little bit of video too, which we posted, that did really well too. And it's not the greatest video, but it's one of those things where I'm shooting it and I'm like, okay, I know I got a good still. And after I did that, I'm like, okay, I got to get some video of this too, because just the reaction, or just that, to see the action, the commotion around him was something I think that needed to be seen too.
We gotta turn up. We gotta turn up. I got a hook and all that on me.
And there's that green dog.
How they looking this year, Mike?
It was just kind of one of those things too. People were talking about afterwards, like, oh, everyone took a ride back, but that's just like PJ Tucker to be walking back and being one with the fans and stuff. So,
Mike, your backpedaling is very impressive.
No, thanks, man. Yeah, and this is some general news. There was a tornado. I can't remember where, western or central Wisconsin.
Steve, notice the hat?
Does it look like Steve's?
Kind of close.
Does he have a tattoo like that?
I haven't seen Steve in that light before. I can't answer that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a sucker for moons. This is just by my house, just a hawk taking off. We're always looking for feature photos. Everyone's seen a Lambeau Leap. Just some Brewers coverage. Oh, the Ryder Cup was a trip that came through Whistling Straits this year. So it was crazy. People dress up and do all kinds of crazy stuff. For those of you that have probably covered it, it's a golf tournament like no other. I'd never covered it before, so it was wild. I thought it was a blast, and everyone's covered golf before, and that it's not to get good stuff from it is hard. This is actually from the Ryder Cup. This is right after one night we came out in the sun. A couple of nights in a row, you came out after covering it, and the sunsets were amazing for some reason. This is I shot. I was just so bored, like shooting like the tee off the every morning. I was like, okay, I got to try something different. So this is just I had this like Sigma 360 camera or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna try something funky. So that's just me trying to cure my boredom. And then they have the celebration after winning it, Team USA. This is just a photo from the Bucks Media Day. I don't know, I just thought it was a nice, cute moment. But Bango, the mascot's always running around like a crazy, mascot, how mascots do. So I just thought it was, a tender moment. Just a Day Without the Latinos protest march in the rain. This was a interesting, fun little story for me. I don't know. You cover a lot of Packer games and stuff, and I've never had this happen before. But so Aaron Jones scores a touchdown, and he runs right in front of me, and wants to show me his wristband, and it says Pops on it, and that's referring to his dad, who had just died, or had died earlier, before the season started. And he wrote that on there to honor him. But then somebody sent me a photo of me, and I I gotta believe that he thought I was probably like a TV camera, and when he realized I was like a still camera, he was probably pretty bummed, that was like, oh, it's probably not gonna have the impact. He probably thought I was, like a Fox TV camera or something. So, but people were texting me like, oh, hey, I saw you on TV. And then this is that same game, and this is, if anyone is Packer fans out, this is like when Aaron Rodgers was yelling, I still own you. And this picture was on USA, went out, and people, I kept seeing it, in places, and then somebody made a cookie out of it at our local bakery. I saw TV did a story, and I was like,
I think all of us want to aspire to get a cookie made out of our photos, right?
Yeah, I think I've probably hit the pinnacle of my career once that happened.
It's all downhill from now.
It has been since, I mean, I'm trying to sell NFTs, so if that's an indication of where my career is going. So yeah, and just a couple more Bucks. Now we're back into Bucks basketball season. So just a lighthouse photo. I shot this on my birthday, on my 50th birthday. So personal. We had the Kyle Rittenhouse circus trial that went on. I wasn't one of the two photographers. Mark Hertzberg, he was inside, so I had to do all the stuff outside, which was day after day after day, of not a lot going on until the end. So you would. This was interesting, so there was kind of protests going on, but then every now and then you get something weird that would happen. Somebody actually, there were still weddings going on while the trial was going on. So I thought that was kind of funny, someone's getting married while the guys protesting in the background, and they were kind of like, what's going on here? I'm like, well, there's kind of a big trial going on. So a few more protest shots. I was actually in Kenosha during a protest when we heard about the Waukesha. There was if anyone's familiar with it, there was a Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy. I got called to that, and when we first heard about it, we weren't really sure what had happened. We just heard that there were some people that were hit, during the parade route. And so, my first thought is, well, it was probably somebody that, somebody was confused. It was an elderly driver, ran into a few people, and, hopefully that was all it was. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll head in that direction. And I was driving west down I-94 going in that direction. And, it was between Milwaukee and Waukesha where the parade was. And an ambulance drove past me on 94. And I thought, okay, well, that's interesting, and then another one passed, and then another one. And I must have counted 6 ambulances that passed me. And and Waukesha has hospitals and they were heading towards Milwaukee. And I'm like, okay, this is really, really bad. And by the time I got there, everything was, people were all, there was no casualties or anything that left on the street. So it was just pretty much the aftermath. A lot of chairs and stuff. And I did a lot of, just pictures and tweeting, and went to some press conferences and stuff like that. Want to make sure, I wanted to make sure I got just some raw video up on our website just to kind of show people. We don't have to look at the whole thing here, but.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
In this day and age, are you posting to your website from out here, or is there an editor you're sending stuff to?
Yeah, I'm posting to our website. I'm shooting and then just running to my car and uploading to the website. Sometimes I'm tweeting photos and then they're taking those photos and then putting them up, but not video. It would take too long.
So no editor in the middle of it. It's you to the web.
Yeah. I mean, I am posting and then I'll send a note, say, hey, I just uploaded a video, and then they'll look it over and make sure, like I'll type in the caption information and stuff and say, raw video from the scene of the Waukesha Parade tragedy, and then a web editor will look at it and make sure everything looks okay. So this is just some from the next day. There was church services. This was something I did too. You're trying to you're there the next day, you're trying to figure out what to do. There wasn't a lot going on. I went around and did, there was memorials, like they were everywhere. I mean, this was one. And then I just went and did like a little montage of just different memorials. I shot all this with my phone. Because the parade, the accident happened along like a quarter-mile route, so the memorials were everywhere. So I did that, and then I got curious as to what they're going to do. That memorial that you can see there, it grew and grew and grew, and I got curious as to like what they're going to do with it. It can't just stay there forever. So I did a story on, what is the future of the memorial. So I'm trying to like do a little bit more writing, a little bit, just to kind of make myself a little bit more valuable as a journalist. Okay. So before I go into my NFT journey, does anybody have any questions about anything about drones or? I can't see anyone. So if anyone's awake, still.
We're all still here.
Okay.
You got a lot of tools in your toolbox, don't you? With the phone, the drone, the 360 cameras, what else do you?
Mike, do you have that one drone photo handy of the car going across the bridge with the ice?
Oh, I can pull that up if you don't have it. That
That
one
was,
caught my
that
attention.
was this year, so that's why I didn't
I'd like
include
to
it.
see that. I don't think you posted that, Mike.
Oh, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Is someone pulling it up, or you want me to?
Oh, why don't you do it since you're hosting already? Still, if you have access to it real quick.
Where is that?
I know it was on your Twitter page, too. I say that every time I look for a photo. Where is that?
Drone home. Oh, there it is. This one?
Yes.
Yeah. So how long are you hovering there for the right car at the right time?
Not very. I just like, just for a second, because then I don't want to hang out over the bridge while cars are going. Like I'm off to the side, and then I wait until like there's no cars, and then I go. I was trying to do it when there was no cars, because you don't want to fly a drone over moving traffic.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do it when there was no cars, really, to be honest, and one got in the way, and
made your photo.
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't have, because then people are like, you shouldn't fly over moving traffic, and I'm technically not like directly over. So if the drone would have fallen straight down right then, it wouldn't have landed on the car. It would have landed, on the road. So,
And where are you?
Where am I? I'm off to the side. I'm like, I'm on a pier, like about, probably 400 yards away, on land, I guess, by Summerfest grounds, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And that's this, a lot of times, this is another, a lot of, like my objective was, there's a lighthouse near there, and I wanted to drone the lighthouse, and it didn't look very good, so then I got up in the air, and I started looking kind of around, and the ice looked a lot cooler over by the bridge, where the hone was, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah, it's nice.
Thanks.
And what's your flight time in the cold winter with the Inspire? Probably 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, especially with the cold, that depends. You know, the wind and the cold dictate the length of the flights. You know, which it decreases them with both of those factors if it's windy or it's cold. So yeah, about 10 or 15 minutes.
It's a great shot.
Thanks.
If I may, want to say thanks to Mike and everybody involved. I'm afraid I have to go now because of another appointment, but Godspeed to everybody and take care.
Good to see you, Neil.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for hanging out.
Hey, Mike, just curious, when you said you are able to get a clue as to how click counts, I guess, is that what we're talking about? You can determine how many people have clicked onto your videos.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of numbers are you getting with your more interesting stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if they get over 10,000 views, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are the click counts exclusively for video or for video, or even some of your still photos?
Well, the stills, if they're in a gallery, then that's, you know, you don't get clicks if it's like an individual still. Like you want to put them in a photo gallery for them to be counted as, you know.
What sort of what's a big number for a gallery?
Well, galleries get a lot more because like each click, you know, each photo counts as a click.
Sure.
So, you know, I mean,
are any of the click counts posted in the paper or online so that the viewer or the reader gets to have a clue? I know one of the lead papers was doing that, and I thought,
really?
Boy, that's I like that honesty, that openness, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, I know some like organizations do our most viewed story this week, you know, but I haven't seen them like say.
Okay, so another question, Mike, is when you you're not going into the office that often, I would assume.
I mean, I do actually. I go in pretty frequently.
Okay, well, if you were talking with an editor for a story that you were going out on, do you discuss whether, or is it just assumed that you're going to shoot video?
No, I don't think so. It's not necessarily assumed.
Is it up to you?
It's up to me. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't, it's not like, yeah, it's up to me.
Mike, is it the same with the drone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's harder for us with the drone too, because we have to have two of us, and you know, it's harder to organize it because, you know, the two other people that do it, one is a business editor who is busy a lot, and you know, the other one is, she's an outdoors writer, you know, that it just takes a lot of coordination, you know. I mean, they're both usually available. I mean, you know, a lot of times if there's something going on, it's not like, you know, you can just jump out. Like if I needed to go drone something right now, I would need to get a hold of one of them and we would have to arrange it, make sure one of us is available, you know. It's not the easiest thing in the world. If it was just me and I, you know, like, oh, there's something cool going on, I could just throw my drone up and drone it, you know. I can't do that, which is, you know, it's kind of a hindrance.
Right.
How do you guys handle breaking news with that, like a massive fire or something, and you can't get a hold of your co-pilot, so to speak? It's
Then we don't do it. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't, there's been situations like that, but usually we can get a hold of one another, you know, either to say we can't do it or, you know, I can't really remember a time when that we weren't able to, that one of us, you know, we weren't able to get a hold of any one of us. Like we were just like,
in a spot news situation, Mike, would you have to wait for that second person to show up before you could do drone stuff?
Well, I missed the first part of the question. Sorry.
If you were in a spot news situation, like something was happening and you wanted to do drone right away because you got enough stills and video, would you still have to wait for that second?
Yep.
Wow, Dan, is that the same with you guys?
Mike is our drone guy, so
I get to come back to Appleton to do drone work for you?
that's right.
Nice. That's a short commute.
Mike, just for reference, I brought up your Twitter page and looked at the picture you did from the Hone Bridge, and it looked like, you know, several of your photos get like 68 likes and 28 likes, and there's some other ones, and that particular one got 4,700 likes.
Yeah, people like that one.
Yeah, that's a lot.
People like the Hone Bridge just in general. You could throw up any picture of the Hone Bridge, and it's got. And then there was a big debate about, you know, it goes from like people really, this is such a great photo, to that bridge should have never been built. That was a waste of money. And it starts to devolve into like this whole like political discussion, which is just ridiculous.
I should have put that on that next door site. You could have blown up that site.
Some terrorist is up above me with something looking straight down at my car.
Yeah.
One nice thing about following Mike on Twitter is he posts a lot of other photographers' work, and there's a lot of good stuff, really amazing stuff on there from other photographers. Okay, do you want to trudge into the NFT world?
Sure, that's a good segue.
I'll give you 60 seconds.
Okay,
go.
Well, that's actually a good segue into the NFT world, because well, I don't even know where to begin really, but that's one of the things I'm learning about about NFTs is it's really about sharing other people's work, and it's about you know, the community of it is a whole community of photographers that are in the NFT community and that are selling their photographs. It's crazy. So anyway, I'll just so I got into NFTs, and if people don't know what they are, it stands for non-fungible token, and it is a way for you to sell your photographs on the for cryptocurrency on the Ethereum blockchain, and you sell it's like a digital asset. So you sell it for cryptocurrency, for Ethereum or ETH. There's different types of cryptocurrencies out there. There's Bitcoin, which and there's Ethereum. There's also Solana, but the main one that people are selling NFTs for is Ethereum. Okay, and if you want to buy, if you want to sell your NFTs, you need to mint your NFTs, and you need Ethereum. So you need to, you know, cash in money, and you need to open up an account on Coinbase. And if anyone saw the Super Bowl and heard about Coinbase and saw that bouncing, now I can't think of the name of those, the thing you scan with your phone.
QR code.
QR code, yes. The QR code, that was a commercial for Coinbase, and you open up your account on Coinbase and you exchange your money for cryptocurrency. In my case, Ethereum. So without getting too deep into the weeds, you basically exchange NFTs, or you exchange your images. You can buy them or you can sell them. And I'm trying to sell my photos on these different platforms here. And there's three different ones. The three main ones that you sell them on or buy them on, and I'm trying to sell them, are, the first one up here is OpenSea, which is free. It's not free. You have to pay a gas fee, and this is the other aspect of it. You pay the gas fee to mint your collection of images, and I'll show you what I'm selling in a minute here. You pay a gas fee, which is to mint my collections. It was like $150, and the gas fee fluctuates and it changes like by the minute. So you can you know, what I paid $150 for might cost $50 at one time, you know, and so you pay, and then you have it, you have your collection, and you have it out there, and then you try to sell it. So there's OpenSea, and then there's another platform that you sell it on called Foundation, and that's this next one here with the weird letter here, but it says Search Foundation. That one you have to get invited to. You have to get invited to someone that's already on it. And then the next one is Super Rare, and that one you need to apply to, and you need to have like a video application, and that's the next kind of more elite one. So right now I just have photos on OpenSea. I did get an invite to Foundation from somebody, but I don't have anything on Foundation yet because it costs a lot more money to put anything on, and I haven't sold anything yet anywhere, so I'm not going to pay any more money to try to sell anything.
Mike, real quick, I just wanted to clarify. Now, we're not talking about copyright. You're not selling the copyright for your photo, and people won't actually own the photo, right? It's still your photo.
It's still my photo. So what they're owning is the digital asset of the photo. They're owning that. So I can still use the photo to do with what I want. But they are owning the digital asset. They can also do with what they want. Now, what they can also do is when they buy it, if they choose to buy the photo, they can resell it at a higher price. But what I have baked into my contract, and what's baked into it when you sell it, is you say, okay, if you're going to resell this photo, you get a 10%. You get 10% of what they resell it for. So if I resell these photos, if I sell these photos to somebody and I become this like hot shot NFT photographer and my work skyrockets, and somebody decides to resell my photos for like 5 times as much, I still get 10% of that price. Does that make sense?
And so if I buy one and I'm using it for a book cover, like one of your black and whites, and I'm using it for like a book cover about something, and I sell that, you still get 10% of that.
Yes, that's correct.
Mike, are we talking about pictures that your personal pictures, correct?
Yes. So that's exactly right. So these are all personal. Let me just go through. Actually, I'll explain that in a second. So yeah, and I'll explain now. So these are all of the pictures that I've ever taken for the Journal Sentinel, for the Post Crescent, for anything that's been published in any newspaper, I am not selling as NFTs. Those are owned by my publications that I've worked for. These are all personal photos that I'm taking on my own. So like I said earlier, like when I first went to college, like I was majored in fine art photography. So I am geeked by like art photography, and that's kind of what it's kind of been my jam ever since I was, went to school. So I'm kind of exploring that side of my photography, and that's how I kind of got into this whole NFT thing in the first place. I thought, hey, I can kind of do this funky art type of photography and see if I can sell that. Now, this that I'm showing you, that you're seeing now, these are images that I shot in the Journal Sentinel press room. I went down there and did all this kind of funky stuff like in 2019, and how I had all these photos and I never really knew what to do with them, and I was like, can I hang them on a wall somewhere? Can I do something? And when this kind of NFT thing came along, I'm like, hey, this is a perfect little thing, experiment. I can try to sell these, they're kind of artsy, kind of funky, kind of different. They're gone now. Like they don't exist anymore. The press has been torn out. It's now apartments. The Journal Sentinel transformed the building into apartment buildings now. This series here, these are all shot with my iPhone while I'm running or driving like to different assignments. I shoot them with my phone in live mode, and then convert them in slow motion with the slow motion function, and then kind of funk them out, with in the native app with my phone, and like tone them up. So they're just kind of fun things that I'm just doing to kind of get out of the daily rut of doing just general daily assignments, that we do when we've all done it. I mean, not specifically that, but we've all done different things. Now, one thing I want to mention about, jumping into NFTs and getting onto this community, trying to sell this stuff, like I said, I haven't sold anything. How it works is you need to, if you wanted to do this, you need to be involved in the community. Now, this is if anyone's familiar with Twitter, that's where it all happens. That's where everything, the communities are all on Twitter. Instagram is not really the place where people are selling NFTs and are marketing their NFTs. It's all happening on Twitter. It's all happening on Twitter Spaces. Now, that is one of the coolest things that I have found about it. I don't care if I sell anything anymore. The coolest thing that I found about doing this is all of the conversations that have been taking place in these Twitter Spaces. I mean, what we're doing right here today in this conversations that we're having, and I know Steve mentioned that I'm sharing other people's work, and that's because those are the people that I've kind of met on these Twitter Spaces. It's just like this amazing world of photography that I never really knew existed. And I got so burnt out on Twitter, and just like the nasty comments that I was getting. I would go out and I would shoot it, like if it was a protest, or it was a Kyle Rittenhouse march or something, or even like the Waukesha parade. People would like, you're fake news, you're a horrible journalist, you're terrible. And I was just like ready to just say, you know what, screw social media, this is bullshit, I'm so sick of this. But then I started getting on these Twitter Spaces and listening to people who are really passionate about photography and give a crap, and were really talented photographers too. And these just happen to be people that are selling NFTs as well. It just kind of gave me a new appreciation for the craft of photography again. And like I said, I don't care really if I sell anything in this thing that I'm trying, but I suggest that anyone that's even halfway interested or on Twitter, go into some of these Twitter Spaces and just listen to what people are talking about, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And join the communities, and it's just really cool. There's a lot of journalists that are selling, that are taking part in that. I don't know if anyone knows who Scott Strazzani is, but he's the one who I talked to initially about doing this, and he kind of got me set up and helped me out a lot in getting stuff figured out. When I first started doing this, I kind of took a step back a little bit. I haven't really, if you want to really sell your stuff, you got to go onto Twitter every day. You got to retweet everyone's work. You got to be really, really supportive. And I guess with, I got a couple kids, and I got my job that I have every day, that I'm just super, super busy. So it's just something that I'm not able to continually work with. OpenSea, they changed their whole system around. They're migrating to another format. So my collections got all kind of messed up. So I need to kind of get back in there and figure things out, and then I'll get back at it. But I don't know. What questions do you have? I feel like I'm jumping all over the place. I know if anyone has any.
It's a hard topic, but go ahead,
yeah.
Matt.
Is there like a limit, like a beginning amount of pictures you would start this with? You mean you don't like?
No, there's not. And I would definitely, if you're, before you even do a collection, I would first get involved in the community first. Don't even, get in there, find some spaces, go onto some spaces, get, before you get to know the people, retweet people's work, get them to know you, get them to know who you are as a photographer, let them know, hey, and you need to speak on these spaces too. That's the thing that was hard for me, is to get up, get my nerve. It's, I'm kind of, it was hard for me to get up and get the nerve up to go up and, they just want to know who you are, like, hey, I'm Mike, they want to hear your story, because these collectors, they want, these are people that are going to be spending money for your work, and they want to know that you're not just some schlupp that's, looking to get in on a money grab and get in and out, and you're not just some bozo,
Right.
So, it's just a matter of getting in on Twitter, getting into these spaces and having these people get to know you before they spend money on your photography. But you can post as many as you want or as little as you want. But I think if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have posted a couple collections right away, and I would have posted so many. I would have posted like 4 or 5 of my best pictures and waited until I got to know the people in the community more.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Who determines the value of the
You do.
NFT? Okay.
The artist, the photographer.
Now, after you've sold an NFT, can you sell it again?
No. Once it's sold, it's sold.
So it's one of a kind.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the interesting things is photography was kind of one thing that came up later in the NFT world, right? It was more like for art and that sort of thing at the beginning. And you had one of the pictures of the monkey in the, what's that called? The profile picture. You had it in one of your slides, but that was one of the highest profiting series, or what was not a series.
The Bored Apes.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
And that's a whole nother world. Like, and I do not get,
I don't get that either.
It's almost like people kind of explain it like as like collecting like stamps, like rare stamps, I guess, like they're only a certain amount that you have to get, and you want to get them before they're gone, and
right,
like Pokemon cards or like.
But these, like an individual one of those was going like $30,000-$40,000, right?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if that's one of them or not, but
I think it is. I think, yeah, there was like, I don't know, there was like 40 of them or something like that, but you can go online and see pictures of all of them. But then, yeah, people put them in their profile, and then that's sort of a signal that they're a serious dealer or whatever. And whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
I tried to read up on it, watch videos, and then it's just, I get to a point and like, it doesn't make sense anymore.
So if you were to sell one, how do you deliver it? What kind of file do they get?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
If you're going to deliver one and somebody bought it, what do you give them? Like a TIFF or the raw file? Or?
Nope, they just get the digital asset. A lot of times the collectors, a lot of times collectors don't even want a print or anything. They just want the digital asset. It's just the NFT. That's it.
So they're just buying the rights to not have anyone else sell it. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Steve, you said it took a little while for this not to make sense to you. I'm not making sense of it already.
Well, that's where I was when I started to read up on it, and I'm just glad I don't have to try to explain it, because there's Mike did a much better job than I could have ever done it. I mean,
yeah.
And he's into it and trying to actually sell some stuff where I'm not even close to that. But I just read an article about it was a woman photographer down in Chicago, and she was talking about, well, the headline of the article was Mike, I just sent it to you. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
To do with they're not starving artists anymore, and it had to do with people are making all this money. And the article went and was talking about her not being able to pay rent, and having to ask for extension and stuff with her landlord. And now she's at the point where she just went out and bought a Tesla, and I was like, well, I'd like to buy a Tesla too. And so then I started reading up on it, and good for her. She got it figured out, and she's able to sell some stuff. But okay, I still got a lot of work to do. But anyway, I appreciate Mike explaining what he's been doing, and bringing us up to speed a little bit. I'm sure you're going to hear more and more about it in the future. Either it's going to work, or, it's not even 100% guaranteed, right? It's like, it's all related to the Bitcoin world, and if that collapses, or
right.
It could collapse, and you'd be out of whatever they would be worthless at that point. But
right,
it's sort of a form of currency. In a way. but it's a tangible, sort of a tangible thing. It's right. It's kind of a, I mean, it's a digital form, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
So how do you cash it out for cash? Can you do that? Or is
Yeah,
it
I
just-
mean, you have a digital wallet, you know, it's called MetaMask, you know, and you have a digital wallet with money in it.
You sell it for Bitcoin or for electronic currency,
Yeah,
and then
like-
you have to convert that back into cash.
Yep.
That's what I'm wondering. Okay.
Then that fluctuates too, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so that's kind of what they're based on. Like, the cost is fluctuating as the price of the currency goes up and down too, right? The Bitcoin value.
Yes,
I mean-
yeah, you can just sit and look at it and it's going up and down, you know, it's fluctuating.
And you put your product, your images into an auction, and then that auction it sort of drops in value as the longer it sits, right?
It's well, it's not really an auction, it's like a set, you price them at like an ETH, like 0.1
Okay.
ETH. And then, but that price, that 1 ETH does fluctuate up and down. Like it's, you know, that depending on how much an ETH is worth, you know, or the price of ETH changes depending on what the ETH is worth.
Right.
So that does fluctuate, you know, sometimes like an ETH right now is, I don't,
Few $1,000s, right?
yeah, it's like $3,000. So and then that fluctuates up and down. So
It's
know.
it's a thing.
yeah, you know, and like I said, I think I you know, that one of these Hone Bridge photos that I took a personal Hone Bridge photo, like an artsy one a few months ago, and just on my own, you know, that I didn't post anywhere, and somebody on Twitter wanted to buy it, and she paid me like $200 for it, and that's the money I used to mint this collection. So I'm not out any money at all, you know. So
Well, and we had talked, I think Pete had talked about the public domain images being available to do this, to the NFTs would apply to them as well because they're public domain. And then I was telling Mike that NASA just came out like 2 days ago, and I've got the quote here that says NASA is not approving any merchandising applications involving NFTs as they are not consistent with the categories of products that the agency has approved to merchandise. So none of their images are available to do this kind of a thing with. So it gets into a kind of a gray area of what you can do and what's available and whose work you can put out there. And then like Mike, you can't do the newspaper stuff. And so I'm sure we'll hear more about it, and we'll once Mike gets it all figured out, we'll have him back and he can bring us up to speed on how to do it.
right,
How we can
right.
all be millionaires.
That's right.
Once I get my Tesla.
Yeah,
Once you buy all of us.
that's right. And Mark's brain is so full he had to put a hat on to keep all that information in there.
A 10-gallon one, right?
That's a hat show off time. So,
Can you please put your hat back on?
Yeah, that's a beauty hat too. How much did that thing set you back?
I think it was a couple $100. It's
Yeah, it looks like it.
It's a Krupa Australian cattleman's hat.
There you go.
Fur felt.
Nice, Steve.
It-
Look at that.
You fit. You have to measure your head because it's like 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. So it's all, you know, metric, but it fits perfect.
What's it made out of?
Fur felt. So I mean,
Oh, fur felt. Okay.
I mean, it's stiff.
Firm felt. Okay.
And it's
Fur.
kind of oiled too, so that it
It's
repels
not
everything?
oiled, but you
Oh.
have to, you know, brush it counterclockwise because it's fur. I mean, it's
Bruce does that with his baseball cap too.
That's why we're so white up there.
yeah, it's I mean, everybody needs a good hat. So
So
Nice.
if it's waterproof, if it's felt, or does it just kind of run off?
it's waterproof.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. It's like
So-
wearing I think it's like wearing a rabbit on your head.
Probably pretty warm too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
know what
warm.
that's like.
Nice.
Thank you, Mike. It was very
Yes.
interesting. I haven't seen you before, and I've seen your work, and I've always liked it. But
Oh, thanks.
thanks for spending the time with us today. It was just great.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, really excellent.
Glad I could be here.
Yep. Let me just say a farewell. We'll end the video right now, and then if you guys want to chit chat some more, you guys can certainly do that.